dimensions. Okay, it looks like the little rubber sleeve you slip on a handlebar of a bicycle, right? So it's a round cylinder. It's got a hole almost all the way through, right? So it's hollow. It's kind of cup-shaped. Then it has a little teeny hole on one very end. And then you'll notice on each outside end, it's got a rounded edge here. So that's called a fillet. So we're going to learn how to use that tool. And they show you what your sketch is going to look like. And it says to fill in the missing dimensions. Don't worry about that. They're already filled in here. Don't worry about that for this assignment. Okay. So this is really all I need to get the basic shape, and then I'm going to round those corners later with the fillet tool. So first, I'm going to make sure that when I sketch this, in order to leave a hole in the middle, I need a gap between my construction line and the little tip of my part, because I want to make this hole right here open. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to sketch on my front plane. Click Sketch. I'm going to align it with the front there, excuse me. And let's see, and then I'm going to sketch a line. I'm going to make sure it's a construction line. I'm going to attach it to this origin, which is always just a good idea. And I'm going to draw it out here. I'm going to hit Escape, and I should have checked what kind of units I'm using. It looks like it's inch units, so just assume it's inches. It looks like inches. If the handlebar sleeve, it'll be about 1 inch, a little more. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to sketch. I can just sketch lines and make that shape, or I like to do it this way. I'm going to sketch 2 rectangles. I'm going to intersect them, and then I'm going to trim away the parts I don't need. So let's see. I'm going to sketch like this. I'm going to be careful. You see how this highlighted over here? It wants to try to make it at the midpoint of this line. So this little box around here, I don't want it at the midpoint. So make sure you're either closer to this end or closer to that end. I'm going to bring it over here. Okay. Then I'm going to trim away this part that I don't need with the trim tool, the little scissors. So I click and drag across the line entities that I don't need. And then I have a shape that's roughly looks like this. It's a little fat over here and skinny over there, but it doesn't matter. Once I start adding dimensions, it'll look right. So first thing I'm going to do is add this 0.094 dimension. And that is, let's see, my dimension tool here. From the construction line to this smaller entity. And I already forgot the number, 0.097. Type 4. Maybe it's 0.094. 0.094, look at that. Okay, then it already automatically scaled, so I'm just going to move this over so I can zoom in and see it. Then my next dimension is going to be 4.469 long. So I'm just going to click this one leg and 1.469. Okay. Then I'm gonna dimension the thickness. It's a 1/4 inch, 0.25. So I'm gonna just select this one line, 0.25, and then the last dimension. Look at that. Things got weird. Oh, I know why. So it looks weird. I'm going to stop dimensioning. I'm just going to drag this over there. So it's fine. It's just a little distorted for a second. Okay, then the last dimension goes from the construction line to the outer edge of the shape, 0.687. Actually, it's not the last one. Okay, from the center to the edge, I'm going to dimension it here, 0.687. Then the thickness of this piece. So you still see how this is still blue. That means it's not fully defined. So 0.156 is the thickness. So I've still got my dimension tool selected. 0.156. Okay. Does that look right? Oh, this is 0.687. Yeah, that's right. 0.25 is right. 4.469, this is wrong. 4.469. And then what did I do over here? 0.94, 0.156. 0.156. You have to excuse me, I'm a little sick and my brain's not working. Okay, that looks more like the picture. Okay, so now we're going to revolve this around the center line. It doesn't matter, I'm going to unselect dimension. It doesn't matter how long the center line is, it's going to revolve around it as long as we select it. So I'm going to check OK. I'm going to click revolve. It's asking me which face, so I'm going to select this. And it's asking me the revolve axis, which is going to be the construction line. And it looks like this. I'm going to rotate it using the middle button, and I can see I have a little hole on one side and a big hole on the other. So it looks good to me. I'm going to check OK. Now, another thing that will be helpful for viewing this, right? This is called a section view, which makes an imaginary cut down the center line of this part. And it's helpful for just looking at the inside of a part, right? So mine will look like this without these rounded edges. So in order to look at that cross section, we go over here to the camera and render options all the way on the right of the screen. And then we look, oh, I gotta move my camera. All the way at the bottom says section view. And then it asks for the section plane. So it's asking me where I want to put the cut. You can pick the front plane or the top plane, doesn't matter. And it's going to show you the inside of it. So it's only a temporary cut, just so you can look at the inside. You can click OK and it'll stay there. But it's not really cutting the part. It's only like an illusion. So if I want to get rid of that, I go back to this, and it says turn off section view at the bottom. So turn that off. We were just inspecting it. Okay, so now, last thing to do, I'm going to add fillets to round off the ends. So it says R.25 TYP, that means typical. So that means the radius is 1/4 of an inch, and typical means everywhere there's an edge that you can see a radius, it's going to be 0.25 inches. So that just means there's a radius here and there's a radius here. So I'm going to add those using the fillet tool. So to the right of our extrude and revolve, we keep going until we get to fillet. So I'm going to click fillet. I don't have to use a sketch for fillet. It's just a pick and place feature. I do have to choose the entities to fillet, and I'm going to choose this edge, and I'm going to choose this edge. And then I'm going to change the radius to 0.25. You don't have to type IN if your part is in inches by default. I check OK, and that looks good to me. I'm going to add this cross section so I can see inside, and it looks to me a lot like this example. Round the outside edges. Yep, that's it. So that's number 1 is complete. I'm going to create a second video for number 2.